What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Tarek. Um, thought I'd make a book review while I'm brainstorming brilliant new video ideas. Thought I'd kill 4 proverbial birds with 1 proverbial stone and do 4 books in one video. And I like to keep things thematic, so they're all books relating to Japan. I have plenty of those, many in fact, but these are the ones I've actually read. So this is the first one. This is Japan, A History and Art by Bradley Smith, I think his name is. There was originally a book cover on here, but I removed it because those are annoying as hell. But I like this better anyway. Got the nice calligraphy. It's very pretty. You get an essay, a little, not even an essay, very short at the beginning by Nagatake Asano about the Japanese love of nature. If you've ever heard that trope before. Nice primer. A lot of beautiful, wonderful art in the book throughout all the periods of Japanese history. It's not very in-depth, but it's not meant to be. It's sort of a survey of the history, with the focus being on the art. Another thing I should mention is that the author made an effort to use only art, in particular illustrations, in the later parts of the book, like here. He tried to use illustrations that were crafted within 100 years of the event that they're meant to portray. He tried, anyway. I think that's a great idea, because, of course, when you have something made centuries later after the event, you have inaccuracies or anachronisms or biases. So that's a good guiding philosophy, I thought. Those are some huge fucking wheels. All the pictures have their own individual captions, so you're never left confused. I particularly enjoyed these sections about Japanese Buddhism. They have I just had it on here. They have this entertaining thing with the story of the Buddha, the historical Siddhartha Gautama, Shakyamuni Buddha. But everyone is Japanese, so it's kind of like how in Europe they made white Nordic Jesus, even though he was Jewish. Thought that was funny. It goes all the way to the Meiji era, and you can see these Japanese people, I guess, drawing Europeans. Always looks entertaining. So, yeah, good book, very pretty. This is Modern Japan by Peter Deuce, 2nd edition. This is from 1998, so you might want to guess where the book ends, tail end of the 20th century. What a surprise. It starts with the Tokugawa era in the middle of it, or 1800-ish, and then it goes to the 90s where it ends off. This book is not a history of Japan culturally so much. There's not a great deal of depth on, literature or anime or manga or anything like that. It's more about politics, economics, sociology, ecology, that sort of thing. But I love that, so I thought it was very in-depth, very insightful book. I thought it was readable. If you're bored by this kind of thing, maybe you won't like it, but I didn't understand everything in the book, quite frankly, but I loved it. I thought it was a great informative read. A lot of data, a lot of illustrations, citations, quotations. I think it's a very excellent book, and it cites earlier research and earlier positions that have been advanced among historians. So it's not by any means a kind of one-sided book. It brings up other points of view. So very good book. Let's see here. This is World Within Walls by Donald Keene, esteemed, famous scholar of Japanese studies. He's an American gentleman. I think he lives in Japan, and he's like in his 90s, and he's still alive somehow. And I think he became a citizen of Japan a few years ago. Correct me on that, I don't know. This is about early modern Japanese literature, and that term is used the same as in Western history. Early modern would be, 17th to 18th century. In this case, I believe that would be the early Tokugawa era, maybe, I think. This was the birthplace of a lot of famous Japanese literature, haiku poetry, fiction, like novellas and all that. I particularly enjoyed Gesaku literature, drama, kabuki theater. This was the era of Chikamatsu, who was the sort of Japanese Shakespeare. Made, plays about lover, double suicides, similar to Romeo and Juliet. Very striking similarities. There's also a small section near the end about the literature composed in Chinese. So the book covers a lot. You can see it's quite ginormous. One thing I should mention is that Keen's a very keen, critic of, well, I guess literature and literary value in general. And sometimes he'll bring up an author and talk about their most famous work, and then bring up that they've made other works and then just not even talk about them because he says they're of not much literary significance. So he's very much a highbrow expert on these kind of things, and even with that, he still makes a ginormous book. So there's plenty of gold in here. A lot of quotations straight from the source material. He translated them himself. Good commentary, very understandable, very readable. The poetry includes romanized originals, but it's in some kind of weird old poetic Japanese, so if you're learning Japanese or something, it probably won't be of much help, and there's no kanji to go with it, so black. But either way, great book. Very great book. I highly recommend it. And I should mention Keen also made a book it's called an anthology of Japanese literature. It's 3 parts. I have the first part about ancient literature. There's not much. It's just him translating the originals. It's more of a compendium of old books than a book by itself. But that's why I didn't include it in this video. But that's also good. Last book. Why is the cover on this thing? Get off. Get off. That's better. Zen and Japanese Culture by D.T. Suzuki, who was one of the big popularizers of Zen in the West, and in particular he was one of the non-Western popularizers of Zen in the West. This is the oldest book that I've read here. I read this my senior year of high school. I remember waking up at like 2 a.m. during like winter break or something to read it. So you can tell it's excellent. And for anyone like me who's interested in Zen, this is sort of the this is where you begin. It's quite a famous book. A lot of wonderful illustrations. Talks about the effects of Zen Buddhist philosophy and religion on calligraphy, art, the tea ceremony, politics, military, martial arts, the shoguns, the samurai. They were very much fans of Zen, in particular the Rinzai sect of Zen. But he also brings up, some more in-depth about the philosophy itself. If you have an interest in Buddhism, like I do, you'll very much enjoy this. My favorite illustration in the book, let me see if I can find it. It's a picture of a dragon, like a Chinese dragon. I always thought it was a cool picture. I should mention that Suzuki was big on the whole theosophy thing. So the book kind of has that transcendentalist tinge to it that kind of made me cringe sometimes, but it's not as bad as I make it sound. It's still very readable, and still a very wonderful study. Where's that painting? What? Okay, it's the dragon. You can't see its. Can you see its eyes? No, you can't even see its eyes. It's got like these weird It's got like a tiny black dot for an eye. It looks soulless in the viewfinder here, but in the real picture it's pretty funny. You got a tiger. Interesting. Yeah, very wonderful book. I recommend it highly to anyone who likes Zen or Japan, I guess. So there's my book review. I hope you enjoyed that. Maybe, I don't know. If you have some other types of books you want me to bullshit through, comment, I guess. I don't know. I don't think anyone's gonna watch this video. This is a joke anyway. Not really. Maybe. Read some books, kids. They're good for you. Stop playing video games. Yeah.